I go ahead and continue? Okay.
Yeah, you can continue. Start with
Okay.
the.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. So before we quickly start the business risk, right? I want to spend probably like 5 minutes to focus on the family risk, because which is also very important, right? Because we are all running a business, but our ultimate objective is to help our families, because that's our first intention, right? But unfortunately, based on the experience, what I'm seeing, uh, uh, it's unfortunate that the family risk, it's not actually being handled correctly, specifically whether it's entrepreneurs or even our working families, right? So that's why I want to focus on a few three things first. Okay. So in order to handle your family financial risk, my recommendation, the first thing is, start involve your spouse as part of the planning first. Okay. Uh, I don't want to spend a lot of time, because when the family lose the breadwinner, right? I know we all seeing a lot of GoFundMe happening in our community, which is very unfortunate. But what keep hearing is, unfortunately, the husband either doesn't share any details with the spouse, and they didn't aware of anything at all, and it's very painful. And I can I have actually documented what happens if the breadwinner kind of gone, right? So the spouse has to now think about have to handle the mortgage loan, and work with the bank, and go to the Social Security Administration office to file the benefits, and even reach out to the life insurance companies to claim processing, and reach out to the HR, and they have to handle their retirement account, husband's retirement account, how it impacts the taxes. So at a high level, if you look at, now all of a sudden, now they are responsible for managing their bank accounts, credit card, fund transfer, mortgage payments, budget, filing taxes, all the investment accounts from the 401k, IRA, HSA, brokerage account, or any short-term investments like CDs, I-bond, real estate investment, or could be startup investment, or maybe they have a businesses or assets in India. So as you can, our kids' college planning, right? And plus, there are always a lot of financial scams. So they should be able to identify the red flags and escape from those scams too, right? So that's why don't take it in a lighter way. I think because we are the first generation, right? Here, particularly as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you are already taking huge risk, and all your things are in your business, right? And think about if you are not implementing this, and helping the spouse and understand what's going on, not only sharing the password and accounts, but engage them gradually, let them start understand and handle. So that way the process will be very smoother, because you have to understand, right? No one is immortal, right? And at some point, that's a reality. Your spouse or your family have to handle at some point. So why not? So that's my first humble request to everyone. Then the next important thing is, have the term life insurance. I'm really shocked. I know people who are working in a W-2, sometimes they may not, many of them, they don't have the right term life insurance coverage. But I'm really surprised. I'm helping a lot of business clients. They're running multi-million-dollar businesses, and they don't have a term life insurance either. And the thing is, you can actually deduct this as a business expense through your business, since you are the CEO or president of the company. You are the critical owner, so you can expense that also. So my important request, and make this as a very high priority. If you don't have the right term life insurance, and again, all you need is term life insurance. That's it. I'm not recommending anything else, because that's all you need. So make sure that you have the right term coverage, and also the amount, also it should be the right amount. Don't just take it for 100k, 200k. That's not going to be enough, right? So make sure that you should cover your home mortgage or any other loan, your kids' college expenses, at least it should cover 5 years of your family expenses, so that if something happens, at least your family should be able to easily handle that shock, right? So that's a objective of it. And I would strongly recommend have one outside of your employer. Don't just depend on the employer, because when you switch your employer, obviously you're going to it will be inactive. So definitely get one best term life coverage insurance from the good insurance credit rating companies, good customer service companies, so that your beneficiaries will not have an issue. And another, my humble request is, I know you're all running businesses and you have a lot of employees, and encourage your employees and tell them that it's a must thing they have to do, because unfortunately, when they move from India to here, nobody tells about this, how important it is, right? So that please educate them. I think you're playing a very good community help, actually. Okay. Then the next thing is a will and trust. So I would recommend, at a minimum, if you have a minor kids, create a will so that you can nominate a guardian for your kids. Because in the US, every state, the estate laws are different. So if something happened to the parents, typically the local court will decide the custody of the kid. So normally it will be decided by the county court's judge. They can send your kids to the foster care. That's what it happened. But if you have a will and nominate the guardian, so the process will be pretty smooth. And then particularly for the people who are entrepreneurs, probably you have a lot of different investments. You are invested in your business. You may have a S corp, C corp, or partnership, or GPLP, or startup investments, or real estate investments. So I would strongly recommend you can consider set up a trust. You can set up a revocable trust. So that way you can place those assets under your trust. So that will help you to avoid the probate process. Because unfortunately, the probate process in US, even if you have a will, still it has to go through the probate process. So that means you have to hire the estate attorney to handle the probate process in the county court. And many places, because of the backlog, it's a time consuming. It may take years, and also it's pretty expensive too. So to avoid that, if you set up the trust and place the assets under the trust, you don't have to go through the probate process at all. So that's something I would strongly recommend consider that. And you can do it through, if you work for a company, typically they offer a legal plan benefit services, and you can hire an attorney through that plan and do that. Or you can hire an attorney to that. If you want to do a lot of customization, you can hire your own attorney. And again, the will doesn't cost probably $500 to $600. Okay. And then the trust, if you hire an attorney, it may be $2,000 to $3,000. And but there are also online software providers are there, like a Willmaker, a LegalZoom. There are a lot of online providers. So you can, usually it costs maybe $200 to $300, and you can create a trust and do that. And also back to the insurance also, and the term life insurance, it's not that expensive. Many people think it's the term life insurance is expensive. Actually, it is not. Usually it may take probably it may cost anywhere from $50 to $150, assuming your health is in good condition. Again, if you're taking 30-year term, the price will be fixed for next 30 years, right? And there are a lot of strategies you can do. You can do a ladder the insurance to maybe minimize your premium, whatever it fits for your family situation. Okay. So these three things, okay, before I jump onto the business risk, so make sure that if you haven't done it, involving your spouse from now, and get the term life insurance, and at a minimum do a will. Okay, so those three things, definitely make it as a very high priority, because as I said, as an entrepreneur, you are already taking a very, very huge risk, right? Because obviously, entrepreneur, we know that the risk and return, right? The reason we are taking the risk to get good returns, right? But at the same time, it should be a calculated risk, right? You don't want to put your family in a very bad situation, right? So that's why it's very important. to take care of these three things. Okay, I can wait, maybe pause for like a few minutes. If you guys want, you can have a quick. I can take a few questions and then move on to the business risk topic next. Okay. Nirmala, I'm not sure. Do you have any questions in the chat window?
There's no questions in the chat window, so we are keeping it as an open forum.
Oh,
யாருக்காச்சும்
okay.
questions இருந்துச்சுன்னா you can raise and
Yeah, you can unmute and ask, or you can put it in the chat.
yes.
Vanakkam Mari, this is Aliyar. Can I talk in Tamil or maybe?
இது தமிழ் entrepreneur forum தான், so
Tamil, yeah,
Okay.
that's okay. Yeah.
I just want to be aware of, mindful of other people who don't speak Tamil. The will பத்தி பேசுனீங்கல்ல, என்னோட two questions are. One வந்து, is it okay to leave a soft copy of the will? Is that considered, or are we supposed to keep the original for the family to have a quick access? That's number one. Number two, did you say even with will, it's not a good idea? It could take time at the court.
Correct. Particularly when it comes to the assets. Correct. The probate process. So the will, when see, soft copy means it doesn't mean anything, right? So the will has to be only one, which is your signed by you and with the two witnesses. And I know some states you have to do a self affidavit with the notary. Notary has to sign, right? So that's the original will. So you have to keep that document with you along with your important documents, either in locker, your passports. So wherever you're keeping your valuable important things, right? So you should keep that. It should be that critical. And then as part of the will, typically they create a letter for your guardian and executor. So that letter you can give it to them so that they know what they have to do. Okay. And also that there is another thing which is not mandatory, but many places you can also register your will. So you can go to your local county court, usually like $10, $20, whatever the fees, you can register your will also. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
மாரி வணக்கம். இது சேதுபதி. இப்போ நம்ம அந்த வில் இது பண்றப்ப நம்மளோட அசெட்ஸ்லாம் வந்து லிஸ்ட் பண்றோம் இல்லையா, அதுல வந்து சேஞ்சஸ் வந்துட்டே இருக்கும்ல அலாங் த வே. இது எப்படி அப்டேட் பண்ணி திரும்ப திரும்ப நம்ம நோட்டரி சைன் வாங்கணும் ரிக்வயர்டு அப்படின்னா, இல்ல அது எப்படி வந்து இந்த அப்டேஷன் வந்து பீரியாடிக்கலி என்ன மாதிரியான ஒரு இது?
So usually in the will, you won't list out all the thing as part of the actual will. So there is a will addendum. Okay, so that's where you capture all your assets and then you just attach it to the will, so that when you keep adding will, you don't have to redo the will every time. The only time you have to redo the will if you move from state to another state. Let's say currently you are in Maryland and you are completely relocating to, for example, Texas or any other state, because the estate laws are different from state to state, and over a state they follow their own estate laws. So then you have to obviously redo the will. But for the asset side, you don't have to redo the will. As long as you update your asset checklist, make sure that it's up to date, and then just pin it along, attach it with your the actual will, the original will.
So அந்த அடெண்டம்ல வந்து நோட்டரி சைன் தேவையில்லை.
That's not required. Correct. Yeah.
Okay. அதுதான் வேணும். Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Then I think we can go to the next topic. So business risk management. Okay. So again, this is what.
Sorry. இன்னொரு கொஸ்டின் பிஃபோர் அது போகணும். அந்த டேர்ம் இன்சூரன்ஸ் போனோம் இல்லையா, சம்டைம் அந்த ஹெல்த் சிச்சுவேஷன்ஸ்னால அன்குவாலிஃபைடு அப்படின்னு இருக்குன்னா, எனி அதர் ஆல்டர்னேட்டிவ் இருக்குதா அதுக்கு?
So you are saying, let's say that the term life what you're applying got maybe come up with a high premium because of the
இல்ல ரிஜெக்டட் வந்து நம்ம அந்த மாதிரியான சிச்சுவேஷன்ல என்ன ஆல்டர்னேட்டிவ் இருக்கு?
Okay, then I would recommend if you have through your employer, right? If you have any other employer, then you have to do. Or there are other insurance that there are firms they do without a medical or health check too. So probably you have to try other carriers, right? Obviously, I don't think every carrier will reject. But if they are rejecting, there has to be some reason. correct?
Yeah.
So then, so you have to, as I said, you can work with there are a lot of marketplaces. You can get the quotes, or you can hire the independent insurance agents and then get the quotes. Because there are a lot of carriers, right? But it's always, I recommend, go with a good carriers, good credit rating, and good claim acceptance. Because if you're going with insurance company, maybe your premium is very low, but the problem is if something happened, then there is a very high probability your beneficiary may not get anything too, right?
Correct.
That's why it's very important to do that due diligence.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Jay, there are a few questions in the Vishwa here. There are a few questions in the chat box. One question goes, why trust is so expensive?
Yes, the trust, again, if you're using these online software, as I said, it doesn't cost that much. But if you hire an attorney, obviously it's going to be expensive, because the reason is in the trust, you can actually customize your trust in any way you want based on your family needs. Because of that customization, probably the attorney might charge higher, right? But if you go with the other options, again, it's not that expensive. If you have the legal plan benefit through your employer, usually they charge maybe like a $10 per month. And so then you can get an attorney through that plan and do your trust. And it won't be that expensive, right? But if you have a special kids needs, or if you have if you want to set up some complex rules, then obviously the online version may not be the right one, right? So you may have to go with an attorney.
Yep. And another question from Ramesh. He says, my understanding is that our wealth automatically passes to the spouse and then to the kids. A will shortens the probate process. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, a will or the trust?
A will. That's the next question, actually.
Or
reading from the chat.
Okay, as I said earlier, right, by having the will, you still have to go through the probate process. For example, like I heard in California, to probate, let's say, $1 million property can take probably 6 months and $30,000 expenses, right? But if you think about spending $2,000, $3,000 on a trust, I think if you compare, right, it's not that much. So by having will, I think the probate process, it's going to be, as I said, it's from time and from cost side, it will be pretty high. But by having the trust, yes, automatically, because initially the husband and wife will be the trustee, right? Then you'll nominate your beneficiaries. Then you can also assign a successor trustee. So then after the husband, then it'll go to the spouse will be the trustee. Then if the kids are minor, then your successor trustee will take care, so that the transition will be pretty smooth, and it doesn't have to go through that probate process. Okay. And again, in the trust, there are two types of trust. So I recommend set up a revocable trust, so that anytime you can pretty much revoke and change it. But if you do, there is another trust called irrevocable trust. So the benefit of the irrevocable is obviously it's asset protection, right? Once you place the assets under the irrevocable, so pretty much even if somebody sue you, they cannot get that property because it's under irrevocable. But the problem is, once it's irrevocable, that's it. Once it's done. You cannot reverse. That's why it's called irreversible. So that's why when you make the decision, be careful what your long-term plan and which type of trust is the right one for you. Okay.
Sorry, I know you have a lot of things to say, but questions keep popping up in the chat. Next question goes, the term insurance expense, can it be coming under the business expense? And do we need to take a policy through business?
Yeah, so if you are on a yes, so you can claim through a business if it's an S corp or C corp. So you can actually put in, if you're running a payroll, basically just like your medical insurance stuff, you can claim. So the policy will be under, you'll take under your name only, right? But the expenses will get paid through by your business, since you are the critical owner of the business.
Okay, Nirmal, are we taking more questions from the chat, or we continue and we'll be back with the...
Or we can cover...
we can...
Okay, that's
super. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so next, let's move on to the business risk management, right? So this is again based on all my real world experience, because I've seen typically for our in our teams group, most of our entrepreneurs are running IT consulting business or IT services or IT products, or I've seen people are in government sector or restaurant or e-commerce, right? Because business is a business, right? So my recommendation is take this risk seriously, because the reason is many of the small businesses fail because of not managing this risk properly. So the first risk I will point out is, let's say if you end up borrowing money, right, from the banks or from other institutions to scale your business growth, then make sure that the debt management is very, very important. Make sure that monitor your interest expenses very closely, because your return on investment definitely should be higher than whatever the interest you are paying. And I'm seeing sometimes the business taking a loan for 25%, 40%. I would say, I don't know what in the world you can get that huge return on investment, right? So that's why you got to be very careful of what kind of a debt you are getting into. Because I'll tell you, recently the top universities did a research during COVID. All the businesses failed. It's because of the reason is, number one reason is because they have a huge debt. Whatever the business, they're highly leveraged, higher debt. Those are the businesses completely gone during the COVID time. And plus, I think this is happening every year. A lot of businesses bankrupt. And if you look into deeper, the debt is one of the biggest reasons. Then the next thing is the cash flow liquidity risk. So make sure that manage your accounts payable and accounts receivable. It could be net 30, net 60, or net 90. Because many of the, particularly if you're working for IT, right? Obviously, you have to pay your employees probably net 30 or net 15 if you're W2 employees, right? And if you're contractors, maximum you can stretch probably a net 45. But your vendors, your software vendors or your prime vendors, sometimes they can push more than maybe 2 months, 3 months. They could delay the payment, right? So that's why it's very important to maintain your cash flows to at least cover your expected cash burn. So that's why you have to do a proactive planning and calculate, okay, how much your cash burn. Because if you don't plan it well, then obviously you will run into cash flow liquidity issue. Then you are going to run around and try to ask other banks or other people for huge interest. Again, it's not sustainable, right? So that's not a good strategy. So that's why have a proper plan and manage your the cash flow risk, which is another reason I've seen many small business firms getting bankrupt. Then the next thing, and I have seen mostly obvious, we are operating this business with partners, right? So it's very important. Again, it's nothing wrong with a partner, because the reason, if you look at our global teams, because we are all want to be a team, try to help each other, right? But particularly when you work with your partners, make sure that you create a document, like an operating document, right? And completely transparent, and all the partners have to agree to it, and they have to sign it, okay? And having these verbal, because I have been seeing some places, they say I have 3 partners, but I've seen no operating document and nothing. Even let's say they're investing in the real estate property, it's under one person name, but they are investing, they are paying. And think about that. That's not at all good, right? If something happened, remember in the US, right? In the good thing is in US, the legal system is pretty good. But as long as you have a valid legal contract, right? So I know it's all friends, right? But now they are friends, right? But I've seen things can completely change a year from now, 3 years from now, God knows, right? So that's why just having these word promise, it's not at all good. Okay, it's not enough. So if you are operating on a partnership basis, any business, so make sure that you have a proper documentation, because at the end of the world, right, you have to produce the schedule K1, and obviously you have to report, take the whether it's a profit and loss, run it through your tax returns too, right? Or if it's a C corp, then obviously it should be part of you. You have to want the corresponding equity, which is a very important, because if it's not on the paper, again, you have to forget it. It's not in your hands. That's all I can say. But I am seeing the way some of the businesses operate. Again, they are just operating just based on the trust and word basis. But again, it's not a right strategy. Okay, so if you are not having the proper agreement, please do that. Okay. And if you need help, you can reach out to me. I can help you, or other legal people also can help you. Then the next thing is when you're investing in other businesses as a GPLP model, like a general partner or limited partner, or if you're investing in startups, typically through safe notes or convertible notes, make sure that the document clearly captured the lockout period and the exit strategies. And if they have, because those document, it should be pretty simple actually. Maximum maybe 5 pages. Okay, but if they have a very complex structures and very complex strategies, and if you don't understand, then don't invest, because at the end of the day, there is a very high probability that you may lose your investments, right? Then the another thing is just aware of ongoing scams. Whether if I'm not sure whether you know that or not, there are financial scams are happening, and particularly with entrepreneurs too, through WhatsApp and social media apps, and they overpromise the inflated returns in a short period of time. Think about people who are telling, okay, I can double basically 100% or 200%. You should ask the question, why do they need your money? Because at that compounding, right, they can easily beat even Warren Buffett, right? As you know, just for information, even Warren Buffett, his annualized return is 30% over almost 60 years, right? So you have to question the people who say they can make 100%, 200% in a short period of time. Because I can honestly tell you, it's a very high probability you may lose your 100% of the investments. So that's a reality, right? So again, these are the things. It's a very kind of a very simple thing. But if you think that a lot of people make very bad judgments, so that's why my overall recommendation managing these risks, when it comes to any business investment, keep it very simple. And if you don't understand, and then don't invest, and make very few investment decisions. Because if you look at any successful business people or investors, actually they make very few investments decisions. I would say maximum maybe 2 or 3 in a year. Again, that's all you need actually to be successful. And the more decision you make, a more investment decision, and trying to do a in and out pretty fast, and try to make a quick cash or quick profit, I think that's where you are going to get into trouble, and you are going to lose a lot of money, unfortunately. Okay. Again, see, by keeping it simple, remember we talked about the continuity, so that your family, right, or your spouse at least able to understand, right? So that the continuity will be easy. And when you make it more complicated, even if you couldn't understand by yourself, think about your other family members too. Okay. Then the next thing is, so when you're running a multi-million-dollar business, obviously there is a very high probability, all right, of getting the litigation. Let's say if you own a rental properties, or the renters could sue you, or your customers, or your suppliers, or your clients. So basically anyone can litigate. So because these are all unknown risks, right? So to protect that, so any business, if you are running a business, I would recommend you can consider taking the general liability insurance for 1 million or 2 million, particularly if you're running already a IT business. I think your prime vendor definitely will already require to take all those things. But if you have other businesses, definitely consider that. And if you're involved in heavy IT side, handling privacy or health data, then definitely you can consider getting the cybersecurity insurance. Or if you use the auto, you can get commercial auto insurance. And to cover all these things in case whatever the reason, the unknown, right? So you can also take the umbrella insurance too, so that if some of the insurance, whatever you have, for whatever reason, if it couldn't cover, that at least the umbrella insurance will come into the picture. And typically the umbrella insurance premium is not that huge as compared to the other insurance, right? So again, I just have the list here. You don't have to have all the insurance. So you have to kind of analyze and get the insurance, whatever the right for your business, right? Because again, some of these insurance are pretty expensive too. So that's why you have to do the cost benefit analysis to get the right business insurance. Okay. Okay. I can talk maybe fast for 5 minutes. We can quickly take few questions about the business risk before moving on to tax strategies. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. It is going wonderful. The entire purpose is to make our entrepreneur community well aware of whatever we need to know about business and beyond that. We are going to announce about our upcoming event in Chicago on 17th. It's going to be a wonderful evening with a lot of speakers. I hope, Jay, you are also coming to Chicago to participate in that. We welcome you for that. And you can also share his time there. In the questions we have interesting speakers lined up. We have people from AI, from Microsoft. The general manager is participating. We have Raja Krishnamurthy, the chief guest for the event, the congressman. You will have a great time to spend time with him. We have a scientist coming in. We have interesting things lined up for the Chicago event. If you want to know more about information, it's available in our team's general group. And people who want to know more about first timers to our teams, we recommend you to ping me, Nirmal, or anybody to know more about and joining our teams. We have our easy to join website and also easy link to join the event. So Ganapathy sir, anybody want to add more about the event, and then we'll continue with Jay sir.
Yeah, one thing Mary Kennedy join பண்றாங்க Chicago one more speaker.
Yeah. So complete business cover up legal, tax, artificial intelligence, and also great networking. And you will have a great hospitality from Ganapathy sir and Sendil Karnanidhi and other people, Sendil Manohar, and everybody is joining us there. Vas is there. So I recommend everybody to book their flights to Chicago. Over to you, Ganapathy sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, the team.
Okay.
More than that, we have lined up the hotel also. If anybody is needed the hotel rooms booking and other things who are coming out of Chicago, please ping me or Sendil Karnanidhi. We will make all the arrangements. The hotel is about 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes from the main airport O'Hare. And or equal distance, it may be from the midway who are reaching also, it may be the equal distance. If you need any guidance on that, and if you want more information, please ping to us, then we will be able to guide the people.
Thank you, Ganapathy.
It's only a short, this one half a day event, but we have full back-to-back good, interesting events. So we may be able to enjoy and kick off our main event that will happen in September 27 and 28. So these 2 dates, please block February 17th from 3 to 9 and September 27 and 28. Please block these 2 dates. So we like to see more people there. Thank you. Please take it from there. Was.
ஜெய், ஒரே ஒரு இது செஷன் அட்டாசமா போயிட்டு இருக்கு. 70க்கு மேல பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ். ஸோ ஒரே ஒரு ஐ வாண்ட் டு ஸ்டேக் 1 minute. இதுல இருக்கிற ஆண்டர்பிரனர்ஸ் எல்லாத்துக்கும் ஒரே ஒரு வேண்டுகோள். சிகாகோ, மிட்வெஸ்ட், இண்டியானாபோலிஸ், அதுக்கப்புறம் மினியாபோலிஸ், அதுக்கப்புறம் கொலம்பஸ், ஒஹாயோ, இந்த இடத்துல இருந்த வேற யாராவது ஐடில உள்ளார வரணும்னு நினைச்சுக்கிட்டு இருந்தாலும் இல்ல ஆல்ரெடி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணியிருந்தாலும் please refer them to join us in person. We are looking at encouraging everybody to join us so that we are able to expand and help. இன்னைக்கு பாத்தீங்கன்னா நம்ம ஐடி கம்பெனிலே இல்லாதவங்க எல்லாம் இதுல ஜாயின் பண்ணி they are bringing in more people who are inclined to get into IT. So please தயவு செய்து யாராவது இருந்தாங்கன்னா ரெஃபர் பண்ணுங்க. Not only Midwest, but this is a regional meet and a kick-off meet for the annual event. The Ganapathy sir சொன்ன மாதிரி. But the intention is that we want like-minded people to also join hands with it so that we can all grow together as team. So அது ஒரு வேண்டுகோள் எல்லாத்துக்கும். Over to you, Jeyamariappan sir.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Okay, so
வாசன சிம்பிளா வந்து வாருங்கள் வடம் பிடிப்போம், வரலாற்றில் இடம் பிடிப்போம் சொல்றாரு. நன்றி. Over to you, Jay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to the next important topic, business tax strategies. Okay, so I want to quickly cover what's the current tax rates, right? Because it's all depends on the type of entity, how you set up your business. So if you set it up as a corporation, so right now it's a flat 21% tax rate. But if you set it up as like a S corp or a partnership, or if it's a solo member LLC, single member LLC, then all those things are treated as a pass-through entities. So when it's a pass-through entities, basically your income, even the business income will be basically taxed at the personal income tax rate. So so in the slide, if you look at, so these are the tax rate. Let's say from your business, if you are making, let's say 300K, right? Whether it's a 1065, that's your partnership, or if it's a S corp, it's 1120. So you'll have the Schedule K1. So that income will flow through your personal tax return, which is a 1040. And you can see, let's say if you're adding 300K, definitely your tax rate will be in 24%. And let's say if you're bringing more than $500,000, then obviously your tax rate will be 35%, right? Then let's say if you have invested in maybe stocks or real estate, and if you hold it for more than 12 months, then typically it considers a long-term capital gains tax rate. So for that, if you look at, depending on whether you are filing single or jointly, even up to $500,000, it's only 15%. Then over like 550K for head of household or jointly, your tax will be 20%. So even if you make million or billion, the long-term capital gain tax rate will be only 20%, right? Then same thing with the dividend. The qualified dividend, if you hold it for I think minimum 60 days or 121 days, then that treated as a qualified dividend tax rate. So your tax rate will be actually pretty less. It's kind of similar to your long-term capital gain tax rate. But if you're selling on a short-term basis, let's say less than a year, then again, that will be taxed as your personal tax rate level. Okay, so that's why it's very important to understand what tax rate you will be paying in the end, because that's very, very important. Because think about paying 35%. Again, that's just the IRS tax. Then let's say if you are in a state where you're living, they are also doing a state tax. Then it can push you to maybe 40 or 45%, like California, right? It can be easily 10 to 15% state taxes. So that's why, particularly for the business and entrepreneurs, so that the tax could be actually a very bad thing. But at the same time, the good thing is in the US, tax laws actually pretty supportive of the entrepreneurs, the businesses, because there are a lot of rules, strategies. It's all legal strategies you can utilize to minimize those tax strategies. Because typically when you work as a W-2 as an employee, obviously the options are very, very limited. But when it comes to the business, I think we have even a lot more leverage. So let me quickly go through those strategies. So at a personal level, I would strongly recommend, so do the 401k. So even if you have a business, whether let's say you and your spouse are the owners, no other employees, then you can definitely set up a self-employed 401k, which you can do your employee contribution and your employer contribution. So the maximum you can go is up to $69,000. And you can also do a traditional IRA or Roth IRA, or if your age is about 230K, you can also do a backdoor Roth. Depending on your health insurance, if you have a high deductible, you can do a HSA. That's up to $8,300. So that's a pre-tax. And also for your kids, assuming if your state support provide a income tax benefit for your 529 contribution, then definitely do the 529, because you'll get the state tax benefit. And plus the gains will be completely tax-free if you use it for education purpose. Okay. Then if you have a 1099, or if you have a corp to corp or S corp or C corp, then you may be able to use and take an advantage of using the SEP IRA or self-employed 401k, as I said before, or even a defined benefit contribution too. So that's something that the defined benefit plan, even if you have an employee, again, you may have to contribute little, but the thing is, you may be able to contribute up to 300K probably, or 275K. So that way you can get a huge pre-tax benefit. And also you can write off whatever the cost to set up this plan. So there are some tax benefits also, the IRS provides that. Okay. So to start with, so the fundamental issue or the problem what I'm seeing is with entrepreneurs or even people who are working for employers, they always go to the CPA or their tax filer in the last minute. Okay, so what they do is they simply take the information, they just file it. Then they just repeat the same ritual in the next April. So instead of that, I would strongly recommend plan at least 12 months ahead of it, right? So do a projected estimated taxes. And again, it's not a rocket science, and it shouldn't take that much. And again, if you don't have time, then hire tax advisors like me or others to spend some time, provide the details to them. So the way what you have to do is you have to estimate your projected income, right? Whether through your W-2, 1099, or Schedule K-1, or through your brokerage account, investment account, dividend, any income. Okay, capture all your income. Then capture all your expenses, right? Then calculate how much your estimated tax, right? So once you decide that, my recommendation is your estimated taxes, it's higher than whatever the withhold taxes, right? Then immediately pay the taxes, because the good thing is through the IRS direct pay, you can pay the estimated tax anytime, right? Because by doing that, you can avoid the penalty and interest. I don't know if many of you guys know or not, because right now the IRS is going to charge 8% interest plus the penalty. So think about if you owe $100,000 or a huge amount, so your penalty and interest, it's going to be huge. So that's why just do the estimated taxes and try to pay immediately in the end of December or the first week of January, so that you can avoid this unnecessary penalty and interest. Okay, so that's a very first thing you can do. Again, as I said, make it this is a proactive strategy. So that way, that itself can help you to save lots and lots of money. Okay, I can quickly show you just a quick demo because many of them don't know the tax savings, how much it's going to be worth, right? So if you look at, let's say, even if you can save $10,000 taxes every year, right? You just put it in a S&P 500 index fund. Look at that tax saving itself over 20, 30 years, it worth $1.6 million, right? So you have to think about when it comes to business, right? So I'm seeing business paying taxes in 50,000 or 100,000, and if you can save even $10,000, $20,000, that itself it's a huge over the long term, right? And then I can show you. So let's say let's say husband and wife making 150, right? And the strategies, the simple strategies, right? If you can put 23,000 for your pre-tax 401k of both of you, right? So that itself, look at, depending on your tax rate, like $11,000, right? And if you are making, let's say, in business, if you are doing 300k, and through the self-employed, let's say if you can do 69,000, because if you're already in a 35% rate, look at that, you're saving $22,000 taxes, right? So I'm just showing the numbers to kind of see there are, when you try to use all the strategy, obviously you may not be able to all the applicable strategies, but definitely depending on your business, your personal family situation, definitely you can take an advantage of all these strategies. Okay. So that the strategies, what I'm going to recommend is the first things, particularly the businesses, right? So if your business is phenomenal and you're making great return on investment, right? I would recommend reinvest basically into your business. So that way your net income, it's going to be pretty much zero or negative. So you're not going to pay any taxes, right? Because you're going to grow at a faster rate. Your return on investment is good. So that's your first strategy. Then the second thing is capture all your eligible business expenses, right? And make sure that, because what I'm seeing is some people try to use their personal cards to mingle with your business expenses, because that's going to be very difficult when it comes to the tax filing and audit process. So I would recommend, as much as possible, separate your personal finance versus your business. Have a business checking account or debit card or credit card, the business card. Always use those business accounts and business cards to incur any business expenses. So that way, everything will be documented, right? You can easily capture in your QuickBooks, or you can download from your business bank account, so that you can give it your CPF or tax filing, or even creating your P&L profit loss. So all those things which will be very easy. Otherwise, if you are mingling with your personal, then you have to follow the right process, right? Then you have to file an expense, get it approved, then reimburse from your business, so that later on, if audit comes, at least you have that all the documents in handy. Okay. Then the next thing is the depreciation expenses. So you can buy a car, or particularly office condo properties. So those things you can buy through your business and take an advantage of the depreciation expense. Then under the section 179, for example, for the year 2023, actually you can deduct up to $1.16 million, right? So that's a huge benefit. And also, particularly who are in the IT product business, if you're spending a lot of money on R&D, research and development, whether using onshore resources or resources from India, so you can claim these R&D expenses too. You can amortize over 5 years or 15 years, depending on your expenses, whether in onshore or offshore. And then use the profit sharing plans, as I mentioned before, using the SEP IRA, the self-employed 401k or defined pension plan. So you can plan. And so I think all those things, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, the 401k. So there is a deadline, right? You have to set up the 401k before December 31st. Then only you should be able to contribute. So that's why it's time is very critical. So that's why you have to be very proactive. And if you need any help with setting up all these kind of tools, you can reach out to me. I'm happy to help you with these strategies. Okay. And then let's say if you have a S corp, then you can run a payroll for your spouse. Even let's say if she's not working in other employers. So by running a small payroll, like even 20K, 30K, right? It will help her to earn the social security credits, because if you do it for 40 credits, like 10 years, right? Then your spouse will be eligible for the social security credit too. And then you, assuming if your kids are helping your business for some admin, then you can do a 1099 NEC, or do a W2 payroll too. And up to 13K, they are not going to pay any taxes, and plus you can expense that in your business too. And if you are, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you can claim your medical insurance or your life insurance premium. All those could be directed as a valid business expenses. And you can buy a car, or even EV car. You can get the EV credits. And again, as I said earlier, what kind of entity is very, very important, right? So I already told you, if you set it up as a solo members or single member LLC or IS Corp, it's a pass-through entity, right? So if your, let's say, income, your business income is maybe up to 50K, maybe the single member or may be suitable, or even the 1060 with the partnership. But once your net income, the profit, it start to increase, let's say maybe 100K or 200K, then if you have the single member LLC, then you are going to pay the self-employment taxes itself almost 16%. Then on top of it, then you're going to pay 35-40% income taxes, right? Then in that scenario, then you may have to think about maybe set up a S corp. So that way you can run a reasonable payroll. Then you will only pay the self-employment taxes or the payroll taxes for whatever the payroll you run. So let's say if you are bringing 200K, right? And if you run a payroll for 50K, then the 150K, you don't have to pay any payroll taxes. So that itself, it's a pretty big savings, right? And then let's say if you're making $500,000 or $1 million, then the S corp also may not be suitable, right? Because now you are going to pay again everything. Since it's a pass through, you may end up paying 35 or 40% tax. Then it's better to maybe you go for a C corp, because by doing a C corp, then now you're going to do only the flat 21%. Then you can reduce your distribution, because not like S corp, you are not forced to run a bigger payroll. Because the C corp, whatever the money you need, you take it as a distribution, right? So that way you are not going to pay huge taxes on that, right? And then you can just retain your earnings and profit as part of your C corp. And there is a rule. I don't know if many of you guys are aware of it. There is a TOLA to QSBS rule. So if you set it as a C corp, because when you do a C corp, you will set up the stock equity structure. So if you hold it for 5 years, you can write off up to $10 million. So you don't have to pay the capital gain taxes. So that's a pretty good benefit. Then also, particularly for the startups, you can also do a 83B election, so that you can set up your the cost base is very, very low, so that when you get the stock grant, because that treated as a regular income, but you will not pay much taxes at all, right? So that's also another tax strategy. Then if you have an investment accounts, so instead of setting up under your personal, you can set up under your business. So that way, if you have a loss, you don't constrained by the $300 capital loss limit. And then if you make gain, then you can probably offset with the other businesses and other strategies you can do, right? And also you can deduct your contribution to this nonprofit 501c3. So that also will be a good tax strategies. Okay, and I just showing this is again not a complete list. So as you can see that there are a lot of eligible expenses legally you can deduct through your businesses. Okay. Okay, so I'll stop for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. The next topics, the final topic is going to be investments, but I can take few questions for the taxes.
Jay, நம்ம already top of the hour தான். அடுத்த செஷன் ஃபைனல் क्वेश्चंस கேட்கலாம்.
Okay, so the quick முடிச்சிட்டு we can go for Q&A.
முடிச்சிட்டு we will go for question answers.
Okay, so that sounds good. Okay. Okay, so then the last topic is the investments, right? Because what I'm seeing is, particularly with entrepreneurs, definitely I'm seeing they are not handling how to handle the short-term investments and the long-term investments, right? So if you have a cash which needed for your short-term, like a working capital, right? Instead of keeping that in the cash, because given that current scenario, right? I would recommend you can invest in the treasury bills, because I think as any business, I would strongly recommend try to use the T-bills, which is actually better than your CDs, because the treasury bills is offered by the US government treasury, right? And it has a wide range of maturities. You can invest in from anywhere from 4 weeks, 8 weeks, or 12 weeks, or 26 weeks, or 52 weeks. So depending on your cash flow needs, you just and again the process is it's very simple. All you have to do is go to this treasurydirect.gov, set up an account. Maybe it may take 10 to 15 minutes. Link your business account, right? Then you can park. Okay, I don't need 100K for next 1 month. Then put it in the 4-week T-bill. Okay, I don't need this money for next 3 months, and put it in the 3-month T-bill, because that right now you are getting 5% return easily, right? So definitely consider that instead of keeping it in the cash, because by keeping in cash, obviously you are not getting anything at all, right? So that's how you should manage your short-term investment. Again, it's a principal save. You're not going to lose anything, right? But at the same time, at least get some income. Then the next thing is, let's say if you have some investments, which if you are not going to touch for a long term, and I say maybe 5 years or 10 years, then I think the strategies you should use is, remember, this the 401k or defined pension or the SEP IRA. So try to invest in those so that it's a completely tax deferred, and then you may be able to invest in the index funds, right? Again, if you don't have a proper time to analyze the stocks and make the proper decisions, I strongly recommend invest in the index funds. Again, that's all you have to do, right? The S&P 500 index fund, or the international index funds, or the total stock index funds. You can easily get anywhere from 8 to 10% annualized return over a long period, right? And don't worry about the market up and down. Don't get emotional. Just follow the discipline, and you will do fine. Okay. And again, if you really want to invest in stocks, then spend proper time. Again, don't invest in hundreds of stock or 500, 200, 300 stock. And definitely you're not going to manage it correctly, and you're going to lose a lot. And in the end, your performance will be, I guarantee, it will be worse than your index fund return, right? So that's, as I said earlier, keep your investments very, very simple, right? And I just kind of, so the investment, what you can consider, maybe the bond index funds, right? But again, you have to understand the risk involved in the bond funds, and also, or you can invest in the real estate index funds, REIT, that also anywhere from 8 to 10%, or you can invest in the ETF or index funds. Okay, but all these funds, right? If you have a short-term working capital funds, working capital, don't invest that in the stock funds, even in the index fund, because that is not the right strategy, because the market can quickly go up and down, and suddenly when you have a liquidity needs, you cannot, you pretty much stuck, right? So that's why do not invest any cash if you need within a year or two, particularly your business cash, don't play with in the stock market to make a quick profit or quick return. That's a recipe for a disaster. Please don't do that. Okay. Then the next investment is the real estate. So as entrepreneurs, I would strongly recommend, I think we have already seen one of the biggest benefit, right? The tax strategies, what you can do is through the investing in the real estate. Particularly, you can invest in the short-term rental or the long-term rental through businesses, so that you can offset or take the depreciation, right? And then offset again your business income or your W2 income too. So that's going to help you to save a lot of taxes. But again, any real estate, you have to treat that as an investment. So because particularly the real estate is a illiquid investment, right? So make sure that do a thorough due diligence, and you have to be very patient and wait for the right property, do the proper cash flow analysis, make sure that the rental income is stable, the property location is good, and you have to work with maybe the property manager or the tax advisor, and again, to minimize the liability, right? Another important thing, use these LLC structure, right? To properly protect your liabilities, right? At the same time, take an advantage of your taxes, and you can do the 1031 exchanges to defer your capital gain taxes. And then the other strategy, so that's for the direct real estate investment. You can also consider the GPLP model. But again, when it goes to the general partner, limited partner, you have to be even more careful, right? Because if for whatever the reason, if GP is not good, then I have seen many scams. There is a very high probability you may lose your 100% of your capital, right? So that's why when you go for GPLP model, you have to be very careful. Or if you don't have a time and to do all these due diligence, and if you still want a real estate exposure, you can go for these real estate investment index funds, REIT, right? So that way you'll get the real estate exposure. And then the last thing is the startup investment. So as an entrepreneur, so since you know how businesses are, all the risk involved, I strongly recommend invest small amount, right? As a seed investor, like an angel investor in the startup, because the maximum, a lot of these seed fund they ask maybe 5K, 10K, 25K. So even if you lose, I know the 95% of the startup fail. So that's why you have to invest in at least 5 to 10 startups. Even if 95% fail, the few will be successful, and it will recoup all your losses, and also definitely get a pretty good return. So that's something also definitely you can consider. And again, I would recommend you can invest through your own LLC instead of investing your personal. So that way, I think it provides other tax strategy advantages for you. Okay. Okay. Then I think the last thing is for entrepreneurs who are already in the 10 million or 20 million, and if you want to basically give a gift to your kids, or maybe inherit those to your kids, I would strongly recommend understand how this estate tax and the gift tax works. Because if you look at for the IRS, you can gift $18,000 per kid every year without any gift tax, without any disclosure, right? And the lifetime exemption gift as of for 2024, it's a 13.61 million. But when you're giving this gift, make sure that if you're going to transition these to your kid, educate your kids, right? Understand how these assets, otherwise, obviously, they may not be able to handle it correctly. So that's why the knowledge transfer and involve them early, and educate them how to handle these assets. It's very, very important. Again, as I said, the estate tax is pretty high, because at the federal level, you'll pay maybe like a 40%. And there are even the state level, as you can see, because if you look at more than $1 million, right, it's a 39% estate tax. And then there are state, if you are in, for example, Maryland, right? More than above 5 million, then you have to pay the estate tax too. So that there is a pretty heavy inheritance taxes are involved. So that's why the estate planning or inheritance planning is very important if you are planning to do the wealth transfer to a next generation. Okay. I think with that, I'll stop. Again, as I said, please download my ebook. It's available in samatwa.us/blogs. So I've captured it pretty detailed. And also you can visit my Facebook. I've uploaded all these recording, what I've done 20-30 sessions for a lot of nonprofit organization throughout US and uploaded it. Whenever you have time, please listen to it. I think it will be helpful for you. Okay. So with that,
Thank you, Jay.
Stop and we can go for the Q&A. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, actually, there are a lot of questions which I have compiled from the chat window. Respecting the time that it's already late, I am going to compile all the questions and bring it to you as a single document and get you the answers from you in short as a written, and then we will share it in the group. Is it okay, everyone? Nirmal?
Yes, absolutely fine, bro. Yana time illa namakku already 15 minutes
adha important one or two questions I'm fine. I can take maybe another 10 minutes, fine. Yeah. If you think there's some important question, that's fine. I can take few questions. Yeah.
So Vishwa bro, ஏதாவது இம்பார்ட்டன்டான क्वेश्चंस இருக்கா? இல்லனா நீங்க ஜே நீங்க பாருங்க chatல.
Oh, okay.
If you want to address any one or two.
Every question looks very important. That's why I don't want to give partiality on the questions. So we will be back. And then one more request is Jay is going to be available in person in Chicago. So whoever could make it to Chicago can get more insight than what you ask a question in the chat window.
Yeah, and also we need
Jay, we will also
for vote of thanks. So
okay.
we'll just make it short.
Yeah, and Jay, we will also share the link for the download in the group. And thank you so much. Over to Nirmal bro.
Jay, he said he's going to address few questions, right?
Yeah, I think I saw one question about, I think they're mainly talk about like one I'm saying, okay, if I'm making 250K with a single member LLC setup, I file as an S Corp. Yes, I think if you are already in the 250K range, probably I think the S Corp probably a better entity setup for you. So as I said, to kind of a recap, so make sure that your entity is good, setup is good, and the good thing is you can amend this entity setup with IRS. So if you have a single member or a partnership, you can actually elect S Corp election or C Corp election. Okay, you can work with your CPA to do that, or you can reach out to me. I can help you with that. Okay. Then let me see if any other questions. Yeah, there is a question about the SUP-IRA, the self-employed 401k. Yes, that's applicable for C Corp also. The C Corp, you can take an advantage of those profit sharing plans. Okay. 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 I think that should be good. Yeah, I'm sorry. One final. They said, can we include a business under the trust? Yes. So I think what you have to do is you set up the trust. Then when you set up the business, right, as part of your operating agreement, you can include your trust as the owner, so that your trust have the business ownership. So so that's one strategy you can do that. Yes. Okay, then can we take? Yeah, somebody said, can we take UL, VUL premium as a business expense? Again, as I said, when it comes to any financial products, as a fiduciary advisor, I would recommend consult with the fiduciary advisor before getting into any financial products. Make sure that it's suitable for you or your business before getting into any financial products. Okay, I think we can stop here. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. It was a great session. So, over to Ganapathy sir for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Jay. It is a great session. I think you are educating on personal, not only personal taxes, but business tax and business risks also. You covered widely on the business risk that is involved. That is a very good one for all of us. You are given your insightful and also how to do the tax planning and covered within the short period. You covered many topics. February 17th நீங்க நேரில் இருக்க போறங்கிறனால people who could not get clarification here may be able to get it in person and other things. Thank you very much for the participants. I think we have a good number of people, good audience to take the subject. That shows the interest in the subject and also the timely of the subject. Thank you, Jay, for your thoughtful interactions and other things. And finally, again, welcome you all and like to see you all in September 17th. You are nearby Chicago and around. I welcome you all on September 17th. And we will be coming to some other cities also and start our chapters. We will inform all well in time so that you can reserve the time. But again, I request you all to be there on September 17th and September 27 and 28 in Chicago. We will give you all the details beforehand. Thank you for all. Thank you for the team for arranging this wonderful session.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Once again, thank you everyone for attending this session.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
வணக்கம்.